forget what I did. Let's just start. Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling 101. I am joined by Hardcore Christopher, and we're going to try this for round 2. So
I want you to tell the people what you did.
Well, I was trying to swipe a notification, and I hit it, and it just took me off my camera.
Okay.
So let's start from the beginning. What did we start with?
Saraya.
You were talking about being shocked about Saraya's debut, that you didn't recognize her at first, and I said that because she wasn't in all black,
and that the women, that it does give a good booster shot for the women's division. However, Tony doesn't know how to book women, and for the first 2 years it was under Omega stuff.
I believe he has Finley under like backstage role contract because he's no longer part of WWE. But if he does, maybe he should let Finley book the women, or because Finley had control of the women in WWE for a long time, or let William Regal book it.
I like that. Okay, what did we go to? Oh, the Danielson and Moxley.
And you were shocked, and I was at first, but then it made sense, and you were asking me why. And because I feel that when they give Daniel the belt, they don't want a temporary champion. We know Moxley is going to drop that to MJF, probably at Full Gear, if I had to guess. Because Tony Khan did say that he can cash in at any time. So it's similar to Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But they never did a just quick, at the end of a match, cash in. And if anyone's going to use that loophole, it's going to be MJF. And I know I touched on it a minute ago, but because we pretty much starting over. MJF has signed a new contract, but we don't know if it's just a new money contract or if they both got what they wanted. Well, MJF gets more money because that match has been confirmed. He is making close to $1 million a year, from what I understand. And maybe they came to a compromise. Well, he gets a little extension on that contract, but he also gets some bigger money payout. And like I said, I expect Daniel to take that belt, and it could happen right at the January mark. And they just stay with the storyline that he is a free agent come January 2024.
So, that was close.
Yeah, it just about frightened me.
Stokely Hathaway and his
group
known as the Firm. I don't like the name.
Yeah, but they did reveal a little bit that MJF is not really part of the group, just friends with the group, which to me makes no sense.
But MJF doesn't need any help.
But he's the bad guy at the moment. I know he's getting chilled a lot, but he is still technically a bad guy. Kind of like Austin.
I thought it would have made perfect sense for him to be a babyface.
Kind of like Austin was in '97. There's going to be a match that we may be on the verge of a double tone match. Like the Bret Hart, Steve Austin scenario at Mania 13. Who do we have that they could pull that off, though? Unless, when, say, Moxley, you say he turns bad, the entire group turns. Only you don't know that until like the next week on Dynamite.
That would work.
I mean, at first when the group were put together, they were kind of on the edge of heels.
Yeah.
Anything else you got to talk about?
Let's talk about this. Orange Cassidy versus Pac. I am grateful that they did not put
I'm
the
glad you're
title
talking
on
about
him.
that, but I'm going to jump in for a minute.
Okay.
Was there a part of the match where it kind of looked like Pac turned heel?
I don't know.
It was all over the
That
internet.
happened on Rampage, I think.
No, it was. I don't know. But apparently there was a part of the match that it kind of looked like a heel tone tease for Pac. Well, the week before it kind of looked like Orange Cassidy might have been because he jumped Pac from the back. So I don't know. I need to do some more digging into that. But
I'm just glad that they didn't put the useless international.
you know, if they're going to put a title on Cassidy, that would be the one to put on. It really makes no sense.
I did notice something during Dynamite. Okay, it was Jade Cargill doing a backstage interview, and usually she says to Tony to cut the blank. They actually bleeped the blank.
Well, I do
They
know.
censored it.
I do know that Warner Media has asked them to back off a little bit on the language.
Which is good because, I mean...
Now, they said that if it makes sense, then they don't mind a little here and there, but they don't want it consistently. Like maybe a big build, and then they drop.
You were telling me it got so bad for you that you had to mute your TV.
A lot of times I mute it doing promos, but I'm gonna quit doing that for a while and see how much it changes.
Jericho being the ROH.
It gives Ring of Honor instant credibility, even without a weekly TV deal that Tony is working on. Apparently, he's having weekly conversations about it. I would say Final Battle, we may get an announcement for the beginning of the new year.
I agree. Is there anything in WWE?
I got a main event for WWE topic.
I know. I'm just trying to think. Is there anything outside that?
Apparently, Roman Reigns gave Sami Zayn a Bloodline T-shirt.
Yeah, it says honorary Oos.
Because I guess he was wearing a Bloodline shirt, and then Roman goes, "Why are you wearing a Bloodline T-shirt?" And I was watching the video from online because Sling doesn't have, even if I still had it, this is one of the reasons I'm getting rid of it and switching to something else. Sling doesn't let you do local, so I have not been able to watch what I believe is the #1 broadcast of WWE right now, SmackDown, in a while. So, with that being said,
okay. What did you think about Solo Sikoa having to relinquish his North American Championship?
I think it was the way to do it. The ladder match coming up at Halloween Havoc.
And then the guy just goes, "Thank you, Sean, for making the right decision." And Sean goes, "You just want me to hand this over to you?"
I'm not doing that either.
I'm not doing that either. You tried to get above the business, and that's not how it works. Trying to think of anything else before. Okay. I've been trying to hold off on this, and I know it's probably going to get heated between the both of us. Let's talk about the online wrestling community, and well, you already know where that's going to go.
Well, keep going. You got something on your mind.
I'm going to say this. Take it from two people in this van right now. He's a WCW guy. Hardcore WCW as WCW can get. I'm a WWE guy. But I have broken out of that shadow to where I am a wrestling fan. What's the problem with watching different wrestling promotions?
There is no problem. I mean, look at it. Well, for instance, me. When they are on weekly, I watch MLW. I watch the NWA, which is YouTube or Fight TV. I watch, when I'm not too busy to where I can, I'm like 8 weeks behind, I need to catch up, Impact, AEW. And since they've gotten better, WWE. Now that I can actually stand to watch it. I shop around for what is good in-ring wrestling, not the nonsense storylines that comes with it. So honestly, there should not be any issue.
Well, we see it all the time.
Oh,
There is an issue where people say that AEW is going to put WWE out of business, and
oh yeah, you hear it all the time.
Look, competition
It's good.
is good. Now, a lot of people, like you and like me, we did get sick of the WWE product.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why we quit watching the darn thing.
So I will say this: in the last 20 years, if anyone was going to put WWE out, it has to be someone with the money. We now have someone with the money. Do I see it happening? No. It's going to take a long time.
Well, I didn't even see it happening when Vince was running the entire thing.
No, because Vince had billions of dollars.
And
As long as you got somewhere to play, and nowadays you don't need a cable network. You got so many streaming devices, services. That's all it really takes.
And look, 20 years ago, there were only two major players, that being WCW and WWE.
I'm going to say this. If WCW would have survived even 5 years ago, and then the buyout was happening, we could see a whole different ballgame. Because there were so many streaming services out there, you don't need a cable TV.
And let's not forget, Bischoff was so close, but
The only reason he backed
opted out
out
of it because AOL just says,
you ain't going to play on our channel at the last minute, because at first they were going to allow it. So there you go. So I guess it's main event time.
well, I'm trying to think. Apparently, Triple H has banned blood.
I don't know.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Well, it came from Triple H's mouth. He hasn't really said I ban it. He just said I don't think it's necessary. So it's probably going to be one of them things that the only time you're going to see blood is if it's a big, like, heated rivalry. Or it could be one of them things where if it happened naturally, it's fine, but we're not going to blade.
Oh, and Vince McMahon and Linda are no longer living together.
That was before.
In fact, Vince McMahon is actually with DDP, or living with DDP, or something like that.
Well, I knew Vince and Linda wasn't even living together when he stepped down, from what I understand. So I'm just going to do a quick, Ravens going into the Impact Hall of Fame. Okay.
Let's talk about how quick things have been moving ever since Triple H has
So it's main event time. My first question, well, we're talking War Games Survival Series, and my first question to you is: do you think it was going to happen this fast, that the War Games moved to the main roster?
I honestly could see it coming. However, with that being said, I thought we would be a year or two out.
I did not see it till next year, Survivor Series, to be honest. I thought Triple H would continue the annual the annual War Games for NXT this year, and then maybe next Survivor Series.
Well, has there ever been an elimination style War Games?
No. One fall to the finish.
Well, couldn't Triple H just change up the rules just a tad?
It wouldn't be War Games then. It'd be, might as well bring in the Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
War Games has always, well, minus when they did it 3 teams of 3 twice now. Once in WWE and once in, where the winner got a world title against Goldberg at Fall Brawl at 98. They had 3 teams: Wolfpack, Hollywood, and WCW. Even though Piper was the only one who got, you guys don't get it. There's no teams because of what the winner got.
Well, I will say that War Games makes sense for Survivor Series. And considering that this is one of the original Big Four, and for those of you that don't know what I mean, there used to only be 4 pay-per-views a year, being SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Rumble, and Mania.
No more.
That can't think of word. That's what surprised me the most, is because we saw War Games at NXT.
Since, what was it, 2016, 2017?
Yes.
And the first one was only 1, and then since then it's been 2 a year.
But in all honesty, I never thought I'd see it on the main roster.
We would have never seen it on the main roster if Triple H was, Vince was still running things.
But couldn't this also be another argument to be made that WWE isn't letting WCW die?
Well, they own it. It's on the network. They continue to bring Starcade from time to time, has a not TV deal, but like a house show.
Could you see this is where Cody makes his return from injury?
It would make a lot of sense. But does it happen? I don't know. Because his dad and his brother have both been in it. But hasn't Cody, wasn't he part of the first Blood and Guts? I believe he was. I know it was the Inner Circle.
I thought it was.
No, it was supposed to be.
Wasn't it?
Inner Circle went against.
I thought it was Inner Circle versus Elite, or did that? No, that got changed.
It got changed. I can't remember who they went against.
That's when Jericho took the bump off of
the cage.
Off of the cage. I don't think he was.
No, he was supposed to have been, but because COVID hit, that got changed. And then the second one was Jericho's new group, where Sammy took the bump. Against Kingston and Moxley and his guys.
Yeah.
So no, Cody has not been in a 2-cage War Games.
The only cage match he was in was the first cage match with War.
So I could see them put him in it to get the set. They would have all the roads at that point in it.
Do you think Cody will ever win the belt?
Oh yeah. I think he was on the verge of winning Money in the Bank, and he will probably already cashed in after one of Roman's big heavy matches.
Now, how long do you think Triple H had this in the pocket?
The what? War Games?
War Games at Survivor Series.
Probably the second he knew he was taking over, he was already planning it. And he planned it for the one pay-per-view that it would make sense. Because War Games is about survival. You have to, if you start the match, you got to survive to the last man in for the actual match to start.
Now, I don't even know if WWE owns it, but if Triple H really wanted to, could the announcer say, and now it's time for War Games, but to go the match beyond? Because I don't know if WWE owns that or not. I know it was referred to as that.
I don't think WWE owns that. I think Cody does.
Because but Cody's with WWE.
That's my point. So they might be able to pay Cody something to use the match beyond. But then again, AEW might have bought that from Cody before he left. Because technically they still use the match beyond. It's just not officially said.
Well, trying to think. Do you think that Judgment Day could be a part of?
They don't have enough people yet.
Well, I understand.
They have 1, 2, 3 guys. They need 2 more. Because Ripley is
it's
a woman.
5-on-5, isn't it?
They have done 4-on-4, but we're still 1 guy short. But then again, Judgment Day is trying to recruit AJ.
Well, AJ hasn't done anything.
So maybe.
Well, they have Dominic as
Well, that's only 3 guys.
yeah.
So maybe AJ eventually gives in.
We'll have a mixed War Games. That's never been done before.
How is that even going to be possible when if Triple H has already said there will be 1 men's and 1 women's?
Okay. There have been women that have entered the men's Royal Rumble match.
But that's before it was known as the men's Rumble. Well, no, I guess.
No, Nia did
That's
that.
what I was going to say. I guess Nia did step in, didn't she?
Yes.
I don't see that happening. I think AJ will eventually agree. Or maybe the Good Brothers sign a new contract with WWE and they join the original Leader Aboard Club.
Well,
Finn. And maybe that's how AJ agrees to join them.
well, they did tease it when Finn was down in NXT, and Styles and the Good Brothers had that. It was during the build-up to Survivor Series.
Do we still get NXT War Games? Or is it going to be one of them things where they may alternate 1 year?
I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to alternate.
Or one of them things where if it makes sense, they use it.
So,
Final thoughts.
I'm glad to see War Games. I'm glad that WWE has taken steps in the right direction, although for Crown Jewel, we're having Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns. Which,
I think that's just because they're going to be in overseas.
And maybe WWE didn't even have a choice. Maybe Saudi wanted it.
Yeah, remember they wanted Andre the Giant, so they realized he was dead.
Apparently, the Saudi government didn't realize
They didn't do the research.
that Andre had been dead.
My final thought is this. The only thing about the new War Games I don't like is that there's not a top. I do like the fact that there is a rule that if you get out of the cage, then your team instantly loses. But I think War Games, and even AEW doesn't have a top on it, but I think they should.
Well, there could be an argument that after Warrior did what he did by kicking the thing off, but in my view, and this is just me, the top is what made the match, because a lot of time back in when the Road Warriors was in it, they used to do the press slam, and they was making the person hit the cage that would hurt
several times before they would drop them.
That would hurt.
So it was a double whammy. Their back was going to get it, and then when they finally dropped them, their belly hit.
Well, if you want to
we missed that aspect.
If you want to top to it, all you have to do is build like 2 Hell in a Cells.
Oh, that.
And just merge them. See what I'm saying?
But that would be way too tall to use. But then again, I guess
not necessarily, because a lot of people did get injured with how low the top was.
But that's just my only issue with it. I do like the fact that people can get on that top and do some heck of a special yoga.
Didn't we see like Tommaso Ciampa put Johnny Gargano? He hit air raid on someone.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, with that being said,
I'm Hardcore Christopher.
Hardcore Wrestling 101 signing off.
Keep it hardcore, everyone.